many more there are many more.
We will easily prevail, says President Trump. And I think regardless of where you sit on this now, we do not want these words to come back and haunt him. Right now, it doesn't look like they will, but what does life look like for the Iranian people, and what do they need next? Let's talk now to author and Iran policy analyst, Dr. Ramesh Sepehrrad. Dr. Sepehrrad, thank you so much for joining us this evening. What do you make of these rumors we're hearing that there may be Kurdish ground troops prepared to go in and try and topple the Islamic Republic's regime? Does that sound plausible? And if so, what would that mean for the people in Iran?
Well, obviously, I'm reading the news just as you are. I've seen lots of reports that saying they're moving in, and of course, I've seen lots of reports that are saying they're not, and statements by the Kurdish organization. So I will let that one, I guess, pan itself out in the media. But what I can tell you is the current conflict that we're dealing with in Iran, and what really gets lost is the real war is between the people of Iran and the regime in power. And that's what we saw in the protests that broke out in December, late December of last year, leading all the way into early February, which ended up in an internet blackout and massacre of the protesters in the streets by the regime. We are dealing with a delegitimized regime. We are dealing with the regime that has been rejected by its people. We are dealing with the regime that is essentially seen the end of its regime. Now we don't see Ayatollah Khamenei in the picture anymore. There is no supreme leader. There is no institution that is currently governing the country as we knew it as Islamic Republic. So I think what we really need to talk about is that conflict and what is the political end game now that we have an external war and we have an internal conflict. What I would say is Iranian people are actually the source of legitimacy when it comes to the political endgame. I think any exit ramp that U.S. may be looking for should include supporting armed resistance against this regime. I'm very much heartened by the announcement by the National Council of Resistance of Iran and announcing the provisional government that they're standing ready to govern the provisional government to transition the sovereignty to the people of Iran. I think this is the message that we have to continue to hear and continue to understand because it represents the voice of the Iranian people. What are they saying? We want a secular republic. Yes, go ahead.
Sorry, Ramesh, go on. You were about to answer the question I was about to ask. I was going to say, what is it that they want?
Excellent. So I think what they're saying is they want a secular republic. What they're saying is clearly a non-nuclear Iran. And what they're saying is a modern judicial system, the ballot box. This is the 10-point plan that was actually presented by Maryam Rajavi more than 20 years ago. And now it's time to really politically get behind it as a political endgame to the conflict that we're seeing in Iran. Again, 2 points that I want to leave you with for your viewers is the real conflict is what's happening inside Iran and how the Iranian people are rising up, and even if it takes that armed resistance to overthrow this regime. We have to be prepared to welcome a provisional government in Iran, and we have to understand the mandate of that provisional government is to transition the sovereignty to the people of Iran with the vision of the 10-point plan that Maryam Rajavi has. And one thing I do want to add, her plan is actually very much supported by the UK Parliament as well as the majority of the US Congress. And it is bipartisan support. In fact, I think Maryam Rajavi was holding an event with members of UK Parliament today discussing the very situation of Iran and what to come in after the fall of the regime. So I think this is the message that really needs to be talked about more.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much. Iran policy analyst there, Dr. Ramesh Sepehrrad. Thank you so much for joining me. Just a quick word from my panel on what we heard then. That sounds very simple, doesn't it? A secular republic, modern judicial system, no nuclear weapons, and the Iranian people just have to rise up and accept it and make it happen.
And that's their choice.
And they're going to have to make that, and I think that that's been very, very clear from the administration, Bev, that we don't want any part in this nation building. And that is similar. That does go back to Iraq, where we sort of learned that lesson that we're not going to spread democracy somewhere. But we will be targeted, and we will focus on the imminent threats that are, like you said, either funding other terrorist organizations or directly threatening our allies through ballistic missiles and a nuclear weapons program.
Yeah. Can you spread democracy, Richard?
Well, we'll find out. Again, right now, it